Nicole Brice here with Mixed Alternative Magazine. We are back today with another episode of Unscripted Verbiage, and I am sitting with Separatr. They are a noise pop duo out of Asbury Park, New Jersey. They just released their new album on Friday via Mint 400 Records. It's called Girl Exploded, and I will say every song is absolutely amazing. And so after we finish this interview today, you guys need to go check out their music, and you need to check out their prior release, the Queen Ace EP, because they actually reimagined some of the songs for this new album, which we'll get into that here in a second. But Joe, Stephanie, thank you for joining me.
Hey, how's it
Yeah,
going?
thank you so much for having
Going
us.
good. Thank you. So new album came out Friday. So far, what has the response been?
It's been good. A lot of people in our scene here in Asbury have like shared it and, told us that they really enjoyed it and it's been fun to have it out there finally and see what people think of it.
Yeah, and definitely, we have sort of a small Spotify following and stuff
Right.
still. We're just starting out, but it's been the biggest response we've ever gotten. And looking at the statistics, the people who are listening to the album are pretty much listening to the entire thing, which is huge for us. They're not
12
just like
songs.
listening to two songs and leaving. So that's been really nice to see.
Well, and I wanted to say too, compliments to you guys because you made such a solid album. It is one of those albums that there's no throwaway tracks. And so the only way to really enjoy it and absorb it is to listen to it from start to finish. And that's what I did Friday. Like literally Friday while I was doing my other work for my other jobs, I had my headphones on and I was chilled out in the bed. And then that was all I was listening to the entire time. And it was
Great.
so enjoyable, absolutely amazing. And so I wanted to ask, so the last time we spoke, you guys had just released Queen Ace, and then so bring us up to speed on what all has happened since then, and how did you get signed to Mint 400 Records?
Yeah, that goes back to a show we did in Jersey City like probably over a year ago at this
Mm-hmm.
point. And Neil from Mint 400 Records, he kind of like got us the show and said, "Hey, I'll come out and see you guys, and then maybe we can talk." So we met him then, and have been talking here or there since then. And when I had about 5 songs, like roughly kind of done from the
Mm-hmm.
record, I just sent it over and was like, "Hey, this is what we're working on. It'll be
Yeah.
done soon, and what do you think?" And he was into it.
Yeah, and he's really involved with a lot of local bands here. He's really a great connection to have because
Mm-hmm.
he's so much about supporting bands, and he doesn't do it for the money. It's more of a hobby for him that
The
he
passion.
his money back. He's
Mhm.
happy about that. So we really appreciate him for that. And we had reached out to him initially,
Mm-hmm.
I think before around the Queen Ace time, and he didn't have any room in his schedule then. So he said, okay, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna see you play, and we're gonna chat. And then when I have a roster opening, then we'll put you on. And it's just been great working with him ever since.
Yeah, Jeff Crespi, in fact, he's said just amazing things about him. And Jeff's like, you need to, interview him. I'm like, well, I'll add it to the list. Yeah. I
Yeah.
would love
Oh
to,
yeah, you should.
because I mean, he's put out so many amazing releases. Like, I mean, there's so many
Mhm.
bands in Jersey that he's put out releases for. And I love all the bands, and
Yeah.
I can't compliment enough the scene that you guys have going on up there because I told Jeff, I said, man, can you kidnap me and just move me up there? Because like the music scene up there is so diverse as opposed to what we have down here, and I think I told y'all that
Yeah.
the last time, it's mostly
Yeah.
metal. And it's like me, I love noise pop and I love, poppier music and I love
Mhm.
grunge and I love industrial and all, and we just don't have that here locally.
Right.
And so
Pop
that
is.
leads me to my next question. So I noticed you reimagined some of the songs for the Girl Exploded album. So how would you say that the newer versions differ from the originals? What did you change?
Some of them are more changed than others, but across the board, it was about trimming the fat.
Hmm.
It was like this record really had to be what we felt that
Hmm.
it had to be everything we have, uh, the cream of the crop, and this kind of like full body of work that we've slowly been like carving out for
Hmm.
like a decade. And so that's why you hear songs that have been released before, but are kind of whittled down more, distilled down to focus on what matters in the song.
Right.
And a lot of the crazier things, especially things like really big, huge drum sounds, have been stripped away and
Hmm.
replaced with just like something simple that serves the hook
Mm-hmm.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I
A
noticed
lot of,
that just the tones have been kind of brought up more and it's more defined. Like I made a note, I think it was Dead Stop was one of them that you reimagined. And it just it sounds the same, but then it doesn't to me, you know?
right.
And I mean, I love the song regardless. So I mean, you could do anything to it and I would still love it, to be quite honest. And so that
Yeah.
leads me now to I'm sorry, did you have something else you want to say?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, a lot of the impetus for it too was just like playing live shows, and
Right.
we had originally had this sort of like rock background. In our old band, we used to have a drummer, and over time, it just kind of started to feel like, well, why are we having these real drum sounds, and
Mhm.
also like how can we push forward? How can we do something that's like more us and more different, especially as we've gotten more into pop music the
Right.
past couple of years on a personal level. And so it was, part of it's having more fun with it and just showing like when we're playing live, like, yeah, this is not a drum set.
Hmm.
And we have samples and we have little vocal things going on in the background that are just a little bit more unique. And that's really led to the response to us being, oh, I haven't heard anything like what you're doing before,
I
which
love
is our
hearing that.
favorite thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's true though. I have it. You know, it's really unique. But I mean, honestly, the only other band I guess I could compare you to in Jersey, and it's still not the same, is like, Neon Rayon. They've got, they don't have a drummer and everything's electronic and, but I admire that so much when you can make something that just sounds so authentic and so different and you don't have to have the full band. That's impressive as hell. So kudos to y'all. I really love everything y'all are doing. And so now I had to ask this next question. So
Right.
the last time we spoke, you mentioned you had played live a cover of Take My Breath Away. Well, you finally released it and I'm
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
obsessed with it. And so I wanted to ask, have you guys been throwing that in your set live? And what has the response been?
We do it last sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Depends on the gig, but
And how much time we have, yeah.
Yeah, I
if
get that.
it's we kind of read the room, read
Mm-hmm.
the demographic, and if it feels like it's gonna be like a home run at the end of the show,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
then we'll throw it in at the end.
Yeah.
Hell
And the
yeah.
reason we recorded that in the first place was mostly because we had done it live once and everyone we knew said you have to record that.
Right.
And the great thing about that too was then Ashley from Shore Points Records here in Asbury Park,
Hmm.
she had heard it, and they were doing a compilation album that was a fundraiser, and so they had asked us, hey, can we put out Take My Breath Away for this fundraiser? It's the local summer compilation. So if people want to hear that song, please go to the local summer compilation album on Shore Points Records because there's so many really amazing cover songs on it, and we're really pumped to be a part of it.
Well, I haven't listened to the entire compilation, but I kind of, scanned
Mm-hmm.
through all the different songs, and I agree with you. It's a very solid compilation, and there's something for
Mm-hmm.
everybody on it. So I'll definitely throw up some links to that so everybody can check that out. And so
Great.
I wanted to move forward now as far as, the new album, and I just wanted to touch upon the song "The Archetype." So
Mm-hmm.
I am in love with this track, and so I wanted to get a little bit more
Sure.
insight and backstory as to how
Mm-hmm.
this song came together.
Um, all our songs have different stories, kind of how they got to be made. This is a song I actually wrote
Hmm.
I want to say like probably like 2005, 2006.
Okay.
Long before we met, a few years before we met, and it was something that like I'm not really like instrument musician,
Right.
so I can strum a few chords on guitar now. I know some chords on piano, but at the time I'd taken a little bit of guitar lessons and I was writing a few things, and I was majoring in creative writing at
Hmm.
university at Western Washington University in Washington State, where we used to live. And so like it was a very creative time for me writing wise. I was writing a lot of things for college, for my degree, and some songs came out of that as well. And so this just came out of that time. And it was just a simple little, like I think E, G, D
Hmm.
chords on the guitar at the time.
Yeah.
and it just sat around for like 15 years or something.
Wow.
Until like I showed it to him and he was like, yeah, we should do this.
Well, I'm glad you
Oh,
did, because it's an amazing track.
Thanks.
it came from a like production standpoint. Right before we moved from Washington State a few years ago, we had done like 2 quick sketches, and I called it like Archetype Slow, Archetype Fast. The slow one was ballady, the chords were piano based, and yeah, it was like maybe half the BPM. And then the fast one, that's when you can hear artifacts of like what it's gonna turn into. And I think it was just like a bass line I had tried in the fast version, and then it was like, okay, that's the coolest part of that sketch, so that's going to be the basis for the whole thing.
Well, I think it came together amazingly. So I can't say enough good things about it. So if you see me constantly sharing it on social media, it's because I'm a little obsessed. Because I'm gonna be honest, y'all, when I get obsessed with a song, I'll like share it over and over again, hoping other people will become equally as obsessed. So I get a little fanatic about it. And so as far as the new album, what song is your favorite song on the album? Or do you have a favorite?
Yeah, it's a tough question because for sure that we have like sort of, I guess a few favorites, but like I love everything on the album. There's also the fact that, you know, there's a lot of songs on here we've released previously, like you said, in other iterations. And then there's a couple songs we haven't. And so that it's been kind of refreshing to have something like Parasocial Crush, which is our newest song by far.
Yeah.
So that's a really fun one.
Which I love the title of that one.
Yeah. That was like a little idea I had about like, oh, people's relationships with, you know, the parasocial relationship thing is getting really weird. What if I wrote a song about that? And it kind of, you know, sat around for a while before it really got developed. And so it's a really fun one.
It also came together the fastest.
Yeah, it was a quick one. Once we got going on it, it sat around for like a while, and then we said, okay, we should write this song, and then and for me, I think Station also, because that's a song I wrote, I want to say like, oh gosh, it was when we lived in our first apartment.
Yeah, it was quite a while ago, over probably like 10 years ago, and we had played it in our old band, and it was always a favorite, and it never got carried over to Separatr until now, because we couldn't really crack how to do that while retaining how the song should feel. And it wasn't until we hit on this new sound of Girl Exploded that I finally was like, I think we can try Station again. And when it worked, we were so happy because we missed the song.
Yeah.
Right.
So Station, it's a kind of a cool cathartic song. I like singing it. So that's definitely a top one for me. But I'll say the Archetype, lyrically, I think the Archetype and Parasocial Crush are kind of my favorite writing I've done, lyrics wise.
And so, as far as the songs on the album, was that the only newer one that you did, or did because you said some of them you already had written for years, and then of course you reimagined some. So what were the tracks on the album that were the newest ones? Because my question was, you know, as far as approaching the writing and recording of it, you know, for the stuff that you hadn't had previously, were there any key ideas or any, you know, bizarre sources of inspiration that led to that or anything?
Yeah, Parasocial Crush is probably the only like newly written song. Everything else has been around for a while, but you know, speaking of writing, like we did have to like add verses here and there, and that creates a really interesting thing where you're now writing an additional verse to a song you wrote, you know, 12 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. Deadstock also, you know, it was on Queen Ace, but that's actually, I think Parasocial Crush and Deadstock are maybe the only ones we wrote in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What really has me excited for the next album is now I can see that like we can write songs fast.
Right.
We've always been this band that takes forever songs, but now we've seen, once we had like the nugget of the idea, we worked on it for half the day and the demo was done. So I'm
that's
excited
absolutely incredible.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of that comes also from just like finding that sound that's right. Because I think a lot of the struggles in the past were like it didn't feel like the final version of what it could be. We kept being like trying to like keep working on it because it just felt like there was something else there that we weren't cracking.
Like something else missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that feeling's
completely
finally
get
gone.
that.
Yeah.
And so you guys, are you still writing and recording actively now? I mean, to make new material for the next album? Because like, I'll give you an example. Like I was talking this last band I interviewed a couple of weeks ago. They told me that they've already got 2 more albums worth of material and they're just waiting to go in the studio and record it. So, I mean, are you guys kind of, you know, the same boat?
Not super actively on the road, but before we got in the van, before June, I was doing like, I like to do like little 30-second sketches where I'll do like one verse, one chorus, and that's kind of the challenge, is to like do that each day. And so I do have a little folder on Google Drive that's like new ideas, and some of them I'm in love with, some of them will probably, you know, go to the wayside, but I can't wait to dive in.
Yeah. Well, so, you know, a lot of people probably don't know, since this is our first, you know, only our second interview with you, and this before we got on the road was the last time we talked to you. We do live full time in a camper van.
Right.
And so we don't have a place to go to record really. We actually there was a directionless. We did vocal pickups the day before the album was due at Turkey Swamp Park campground.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In the van.
Yeah.
And we've done some stuff. Take My Breath Away, we did some of that. Or did we do all of it at Red Barn?
Yeah, pretty much just had to find a space, which was this studio in Brick, New Jersey.
No, it was Point Pleasant Borough.
Point Pleasant Borough, New Jersey.
Okay.
And
they were great, yeah.
And we just got in there and we knew like, hey, we can only afford like the day, so
Right.
better get it right.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as for me, I do feel really eager to do some more songwriting. But I think it's going to take a little bit of time once we can afford to maybe do another rental of a house for a month or something. I've got all kinds of notes app ideas and little like, you know, little snippets recorded on my phone and little lyrics here and there, and like definitely things, still songs that we've never recorded that are from a long time ago. So I think that runs the gamut. I have some really old ideas I'd like to bring back, and I have a ton of new things like marinating in my head that I kind of want to wait until I can sit down and really like focus on it.
Well, yeah, you don't want to force it. You got to wait for the creativity to kind of just strike and then just roll with it. No, I totally get that. Like just being a creative myself, you know, I've got all these ideas that I've written down in this little notebook, but I just haven't acted upon them yet. And so I figure once that, you know, that spark happens, then I'll just start going down the list.
Totally.
Hell yeah. So what is on the agenda for the rest of the year and into next year? So obviously we need to get some touring, you know, to get the songs out there. So do you guys have plans to tour, or how's that going?
We've been on the road in the van since June 1st, and there's no sign of stopping. We love doing this. We love living in the van. And so like ideally we'd be playing, you know, almost every night. I mean, that's the goal.
Yeah, kind of so we kind of had a learning curve once we got into the van as far as like booking and stuff. I do all the booking. It's very tedious. And
I've heard from several people. Yeah.
It's the hardest
it's
part.
no fun, but like getting the shows is so rewarding.
Right.
So, you know, we've gotten to the point where I think in October we had 10 shows. In November we have 7 shows. And then we're actually taking a break in December for the holiday. Excuse me, the wildfire smoke.
Oh no, you're good. It's all good.
Woo. I'm going back to Washington State to visit my family for about 10 days. We have one show on winter solstice at Wild Air Beerworks, and then our friend is coming to visit here. So we're sort of taking that month off touring, and then I already have dates in January, February, April on our calendar, and we're hoping to do a bunch more in Jersey. We've been doing a lot in Jersey lately, and then I'm branching out to Pennsylvania, and we're hoping to go down to Virginia. So those are all the places I'm reaching out. So if anybody watching this wants us to come play somewhere, knows has good contact, please let us know, because at this point it's the never-ending tour. We
Yeah.
play venues, and then to make a lot of our money, we'll play breweries.
I saw that you did the brewery tour.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still doing that. So you basically will go play for 2 or 3 hours and you get a flat payment,
Mhm.
which is not how it usually works with venues,
Right.
if anyone in a band knows. And then we have a tip jar and we sell some merch. And so like most of our guaranteed money comes from playing breweries.
And so in 2025, if you could accomplish anything, what would you want it to be?
Definitely a full calendar. Like
Yeah.
I just want to play shows. Like we
Right.
feel for the first time we feel really like fully formed as a
Mhm.
band,
Mhm.
even down to like real specific nerdy stuff. Like my pedal board was always changing. I never felt like I had my sound. I
Yeah.
finally feel that way
Mhm.
after, decades of playing. And so we feel like we're we live in this van. We
Mhm.
can go anywhere and play anywhere.
Mhm.
So that's all I want to do.
Yeah. I think our goal, yeah, it would be to make enough money to not have to get remote work or some other kind of job.
Yeah.
And oh gosh, I lost I had another
I
one
mean,
that I was gonna say.
if we were playing that much, then we
Yeah,
hopefully wouldn't
exactly.
need it.
And like, getting to the point where we can, sell a lot of not sell merch online, not just at shows. One thing we've talked about a lot is an ideal for us would be getting on as an opener with a kind of band the next level above us,
A more
doing
established
like
one. Yeah. Yeah.
doing like a month or two run with another band, so we don't have to do all our own booking.
Hopping on a tour would be great.
And then maybe getting to a level where we could have a booking agent as well. But luckily we have a label for this album and for our next release. If we get to a certain point, maybe we'll try and partner and double up our labels.
Mhm.
But we're just happy to have the support of Mint 400, who helps us with our radio campaign and all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely amazing. Well, I'm out of questions, guys, but is there anything else that you would like to put out there about your music and about the new album?
Yeah, I guess I'll say the same thing I said last time we talked to you, which is we really want Separator to be a fun band to be a fan of and to
Mm-hmm.
be part of the community. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a safe, inclusive fan base. Come hang out with us, connect us on whatever you want to connect with us on.
Yeah.
We're most active on Instagram.
Yeah.
But we're on TikTok and YouTube too. And
We have email. We're big music fans, and we love nerdy, like, band interaction stuff, behind the scenes documentaries and all that, and we're happy to try and be that band for other people.
I'm the same way. I like all that too. I'm such a music fan and fanatic that, anything that shows me a glimpse into the, inner workings of a lot of my favorite bands, I enjoy all that. And
Yeah.
I honestly, that's why I like Instagram and I prefer it over TikTok because I feel like TikTok's so cluttered and like Instagram, I don't know why. I just like the format. Maybe I'm weird.
Yeah.
it's nice to show. It's important to show some of the struggle, and I think that maybe people are hesitant to do that on those kind of short
Right.
form platforms where it's supposed to be so curated. But we really try to like show not only behind the creative process, but also like, hey, it's really hard to do this. It's hard to be a band. And
Right.
it can be discouraging, and all this bad stuff can happen. But we do it because we have to. Like, there's nothing else I see myself doing.
Yeah.
I can't see y'all do anything else either because I enjoy your music so much and so I just want everyone else to listen to it. So if I start annoying you with as much as I share it, I apologize.
Absolutely not. That's
Well,
awesome. Thanks, Nicole.
Okay.
These days, maybe 25, our goal is to tour down towards you.
Oh, well, you know what? I got the connections to get you booked anywhere you need to get booked here. So you just tell me when and I'll make it happen.
Great.
But I will tell you, the two areas where I would want you booked is either in Lafayette, Louisiana or Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Now, I prefer the scene in Lafayette more right now because it's more more of like a community, and everyone, you know, supports everyone, and everyone's always sharing each other's stuff. Whereas like Baton Rouge, it's more spread out. But I think y'all would really dig the scene in Lafayette. And also too, that's where Seth Thomas, he's usually my co-host for these recordings when we do them, and he couldn't do it today. He was helping his family move. But he is the host of the Louisiana Loud Hour, which is a radio show on Planet Radio 106.7 out of Lafayette. And that's where he showcases the best of indie Louisiana music. And then he just launched his own online indie station called The Rage, Your New Rock Animal. And so we've kind of partnered with them, and we promote them. And so eventually the idea is to make The Rage like the indie destination station. You know, it's going to take some time, but I've got the plan. He's got the plan. We're going to make it happen. So I hope to be able to put your music on there too. So
that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we just want to say we appreciate you and your passion and all that you're doing.
Well, thank you.
This is a hard thing to stick with.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to get discouraged and be like, I'm doing so much and I feel like I'm never going to get back like how much I've put into it. But, you know, you just got to keep going.
Yep. Well, I mean, that's with any creative endeavor, to be quite honest, you know, even like with what I'm doing, you know, because I do what I do because I'm passionate about it, you know, and I'm not doing it for money or fame or glory. I literally started it because I was tired of the music scene and I wanted to discover good music. And so, you know, that's how it all started. And so, you know, I'm just like you guys, like each day I still have to keep motivating myself and keeping myself going because, you know, it's a lot of work. It really, really is. But the rewards are amazing because I'm getting to interact with people like you guys. I'm getting to discover all this amazing new music that, you know, otherwise I probably would have never found because of, you know, how social media is skewed and how it only shows you certain things. So, you know, if Mixed Alternative Magazine can cut through the clutter, then that's what we're going to
do.
Awesome.
We appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. I don't have anything else to discuss today, but I just want to thank you for being here and discussing the new album. And I'm just going to go ahead and say once again, we were with Separatr today, noise pop duo from Asbury Park, New Jersey. New album, Girl Exploded, just released November 8th, 2024 via Mint 400 Records. But they have an impressive discography out there. They got numerous singles. They got the Queen ACP was released in 2023. The Take My Breath Away single, which everybody needs to hear. One of the best covers I have heard in a long time. But I'll throw up all the links and so you can check out their music. And so once again, Nicole Brice here, Mixed Alternative Magazine. And this has been another episode of Unscripted Verbiage. Thank you.
Thank you.